Right, how low will the Arizona housing market go? Welcome back, everyone, to my market update. This is another episode on June 16 of 2025. And in this episode, we're going to answer the most asked question nowadays is how low will the Arizona housing market go? We are going to talk about how the market condition is, how the new listing changed recently, what the power that the buyer has, what is the comparison between regular home price versus luxury home price? What is the difference between single family house and condo in today's markets? So with that, let's dive right into the information. Okay, well, here is it. Okay, so number one we are going to talk about is a comfort market index. For those of you who follow my channel, you probably know the market index is one of the number that I follow because it's very reliable source of data. Okay, for Arizona, designed for Arizona, and only consider Arizona real estate market. So here it is. Okay, on average, we see actually this week a 2.5% drop compared to the previous months. Now it's still a negative. Okay, overall, if an index is reducing, that means it's going towards the buyer. Okay, from if the index is from 110 or above, it's a seller market. 90 to 110 is a balanced market, and if it is less than 90 points, it is a buyer's market. So if it is dropping, that means it's moving towards buyer's market. However, as you see here, 2.5% last week, we have 3.1% negative 3.1%. The previous week is negative 4.1%. The previous week even is 4.3% negative. So it's less and less negative in today. Okay, this is actually the third week in a row that we have the rate slow down. The decline rate slow down. That's a small but notable shift, to be honest with you, because eventually if this one becomes zero or it becomes positive, right, we may have a different market. All right, when we look at the entire 17 cities that in Greater Phoenix metro area, we see that 4 cities actually improving towards the sellers, including Paradise Valley. Okay, which actually have a 7% increase, which is very amazing in today's market, right? Fountain Hills has been on the list for last couple of weeks already. Surprise and Goodyear, all right, is very small though. For Surprise and Goodyear, it's very small though, but it's still moving toward better for the sellers. On the opposite, 13 cities is actually moving towards the buyer. Okay, Scottsdale, Phoenix are those that leading. Okay, 8% down from previous months. Gilbert and Chandler is 6% drop, and the other cities drop about 4% on this. So according to the within that 13 cities, obviously you see Chandler and Gilbert are very popular. I really like housing market in those cities, okay, because it's so convenient location that either you can buy it for rental or you can buy it for single family house. Regardless, you will be satisfied living in Gilbert and Chandler, right? A lot of people has a good comment about living in there, and it's 6%, so it's actually have a very nice power for the buyer, incentive for the buyer to purchase house in Gilbert and Chandler area. We're gonna talk about the full list of all the buyers incentive when you buy a house in today's market in the next couple of slides. But now let's go into a little bit breakdown based on the comfort market index. We have 4 sellers market, 8 balanced market, and 7 buyers market. Okay, so if you follow my channel, well, here's the thing. Okay, first of all, 4 sellers market, they are all weak, are very small, very close to moving to the balance. Okay, now but if you follow my channel, you're gonna see that previous videos we only have 3 cities that in the seller's market. This week we actually have 4. So somewhere that is moving towards seller and it's become the seller's market. That could be, it just could be a wrong positive signal, or if this one continue, that means all the buyers market is going to move towards the seller's market, and eventually all the buyers market moving toward up as well. So we're going to continue watching these index for you. That's why I like the Cromford market index, because it gives so much insight information, and it's very easy to understand as well. Just one number, and you know whether it's in the buyer's market, seller market, or it's a balanced market. Overall, as you see here, we still have 7 cities that in the buyer's market and 8 in the balanced market. All right. For those of you who do not have time to follow all the information that I provided in the video, feel free to go to scan the QR code here and get all the information on my website. Or you can just go to magicalsuccessrealty.com. Very easy, right? And then you go to the market update section here on top. And then it has all the information about housing market updates and every week as well. All right. Alternatively, you can always subscribe to my channel so that you're going to receive the market update every single week. All right. Cool. Let's come back. All right. Let's talk about new listing. Okay. Because as you know right now, there's a lot of houses available on the market. Okay. But here's the good news. We see that for the last 4 weeks, the total new listing is only about 8,200. For those of you who just see the videos, you probably see, oh my gosh, Long, 8,200 is a big number. Well, if you compare to previous months, it's actually a drop from 10,000 plus. Okay, from February to May, we have about 10,000 plus new listing, but in this last 4 weeks, we only have 8,200 new listing. So that's actually a significant drop in new supply. This put new supply nearly equal to this time last year. Okay, actually it helps a lot in reducing the inventory build up, because for the last several months we have been seeing inventory going up 24,000, 25,000, 26,000, right? This last 4 weeks, we don't see a lot of new listing, and therefore we don't have a lot of inventory goes up anymore. So what does that mean? What does that mean to the buyer and seller when the inventory doesn't go up anymore? All right, the sellers are holding off. The seller are holding off. They don't want to risk listing the house on the market and eventually not getting the results that they want. At the end of the day, the seller wants the net profit, right? They're choosing to delay the listing in hope for a better season and on a better market. I actually have a conversation with 3 different buyers for the last 4 weeks, and at the end of the conversation, I have to say, sorry, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, you're not ready to sell. I highly, or if you want to sell, if you want to sell, if you really want to sell, I will be able to list, but you are not gonna have any benefit from selling it today. So, and they understand the situation after looking at all the market condition and after all the factors that need to be addressed during the selling process. Okay, so this trend is actually some of the things that I will continue watching as well, the number of supply, okay, to inform you whether it is oversupply or lack of supply. As of right now, we still have a lot of, we don't see a lot of increase in supply anymore. Some of you might think, okay, then the price is gonna go down, right? Well, yes and no. When supply hold off, normally the price is gonna be eased a little bit and then no longer going down. However, though, the demand is still very low. It is actually well below normal as of right now. Okay, and it's mainly because of the interest rate. It's too high, a lot of costs associated with selling right now. So that's the reason why we don't have a lot of change in prices yet. Okay, so like I said, I will be continue watching, and if you follow my market update channel, you will receive the most up-to-date version of the market condition. All right, next we're gonna talk about some of the buyer advantage in this market. Is actually the buyer market is the new normal. Okay, for most of the market. Why is that? Okay, the majority of the people buying a house is in a regular price range. I'm talking about less than $1 million house. Most of the transaction happening within that price range. Okay, however, though, some of the houses more than 1 million, or maybe some even more than 3 million, right? So it's we call it a luxury market. In this market right here, if you are looking at the regular price ranges, you see that the buyers is negotiating more aggressively. Okay, are we talking about purchase price? We're talking about seller concession to cover closing cost. We're talking about buyer agent fees. We're talking about inspection. We're talking about appraisal items. Those are the things that the seller has to be willing to do, right? They have to be willing to offer those if they really want to sell the house. Some of the buyer ask me, Long, why does the seller have to pay me that? That's a lot of money. 700 purchase price, 3% is 21,000. That's a huge amount of money. Why does the seller have to offer me that? Well, otherwise they cannot sell, because most of the sellers in today's markets actually have to be flexible in that, okay? Unless there's some advantage, which we'll talk about that in a different video, talking about negotiation and things like that. If you're interested, feel free to DM me directly so that I will respond, talk to you about that strategy, okay? And in this market, buyer, you don't have to rush, okay? There's no reason for you to rush and accept a house, okay? Patience is a key in today's market, okay? And if you don't get that house, that's fine. Another house is gonna come up very soon, and you're gonna get a better deal compared to the other one, okay? A lot of chances that you can get a good deal for the buyer in today's market, especially if you're looking to buy in the regular price range. Now, for the luxury market, it's a different story. Okay, actually, there's still a lot of high-end buyers in today looking to buy a house in Arizona. Okay, cash deal is very common also in the luxury market. Surprise, right? When you think, okay, when the more expensive the house is, the more chance that they have to get the mortgage. Actually, not. Most of the time, they purchase by cash. And the reason is that the majority of them, they have assets in different channel, and when they cash out in one channel, one vehicle, one investment vehicle, they want to put that amount of cash into different vehicle, which is a house in this situation. Property above $3 million those are in Paradise Valley and Scottsdale, moving very well. Okay, so the buyers in the luxury market, we still have to compete with other buyers in today's market. Okay, all right. Now the next information I want to talk about is the detached home versus condo townhouse. Right? For those of you who are not familiar with the two types of homes, detached homes is some home that is detached. There's no common wall between you and the neighbor. Right? Condo and townhouse normally have at least one or two walls that is attached, combined to the other neighbors, and normally it's in a community setup. Okay, there's a clear performance gap between a single-family house, detached homes, or attached units. Okay, condo or townhouse. Okay, detached home, single-family house is much better compared to condo and townhouse. Very struggling right now to sell. Why? Why is that? Why is that so difficult to sell a condo and townhouse right now? Well, number one, the HOA fees. So high HOA fees. Okay? Normally, a typical condo and townhouse in the Metro Phoenix area, Chandler, Gilbert area is about at least $350 a month. $350 a month. A very high HOA that most of the people do not want to involve. Right? They sometimes like it because they provide a lot of amenities like pool, fitness centers, or maybe they cover the part of the insurance, or maybe the outside. Well, but not everyone willing to pay that, because somebody may think, I'm not using the pool, I'm not using the fitness centers, why do I have to pay? Right? The second thing is the insurance cost. The premium for the attached units are more expensive compared to a single family house. Okay, special assessment, there's some fee involved to the HOA if they want to, like, say, fixing the buildings, fixing the pool equipment. Those are called special assessments. Okay, buyer wariness, first time home buyers watching every dollar, right? They don't want to waste any money into those, right? Those are the four main reasons why condo and townhouse is very challenging to sell right now, because of the high costs associated with the sale. hold off, because if you own a luxury condo, the one that is more than $1 million, is a different story. Okay, it still have a strong market, and selling very easy. Okay, because like I said, a lot of people from housing, and they may just purchase. They don't want to invest in the whole single family house because it may involve a lot of maintenance. Versus a condo, which is smaller, right? But it's still within the amenities that they want, and therefore is still holding up the value if it is in the luxury condo. Okay. Overall, here's my advice for the seller who is selling their condo and townhouse. Number one, okay, you have to be in a strong market. For example, luxury market. You have to have a clear value presentation. Prepare a lot of marketing materials for those houses, okay, to show the best part of the communities, why they have to pay that HOA. Is there any additional benefit if there's nothing in the community? Maybe the location is convenient, right? And you have to be extremely flexible in negotiation to be able to get the price, to get the house sold. You have to be flexible in price. Okay. All right. Here go my prediction. All right. Those are the information I want to talk about. The Cromford Market Index. We already talked about the buyers' power, negotiation power in today's market. We're already talking about the detached home versus condo townhouse. We already talked about new listing inventories. Okay, so here's my prediction for summer. Inventory may stay. Oh, sorry, wrong slide. Inventory may steady. Okay, I think it's gonna be slowed down into August. Okay, that's number one. So that means there's less supply on the market very soon. Okay, demand will likely stay soft unless there's a huge drop in interest rate. Interest rate is still the number. Every single time I talk to a buyers, the first question that I have is, what is my interest rate? Okay, so everybody concerned about that. So that's my prediction is will remain steady, because I don't see the interest rate gonna have any signal to drop significantly towards the end of the year, until the end of the year. Okay, prices may stay in higher market, okay, due to demand. But for the lower price, like less than 1 million, we would see the further downward pressure. We're talking about reduction of supply, but we're also talking about the level of demand is still very low. So that's why the price, I think, is going to continue to go down. And that's another good news for the buyers to negotiate in today's market. All right. If the current trend happens still going, right? If you don't see anything new, we're gonna see that the buyers will be in the remaining driver's seat, and the seller will continue to will need to be very serious. You have to wait and see. Approach is risky. Okay. My final thought. Okay. If you're the buyers, always negotiate, especially if you buy a house less than $1 million. There's plenty of negotiation strategy that bring the benefit to you. Purchase price, seller concession to help with the closing costs, buyer agent. Well, you don't have to pay the buyer agent. That's additional benefit, right? Inspection, repairs. If anything broken, if anything need to be replaced, those are the things that you can do. And appraisal, if the appraised value is less than the purchase price, you can also ask for a reduction as well. For the seller, understand your sub market. Okay. For example, if you have a detached home, you're gonna be in a better position than a condo home. If you have a more than $1 million house, you're gonna be a better position than less than $1 million house. Right? Understand your sub-market. Price realistically. Okay. Do not over ask, because the buyer is very sensitive to that. If you over ask, you will not be able to get any offer. So reasonable and be flexible with pricing. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you need more information about everything that I present today, feel free to scan the QR code and go into the site that has all the information that I present today. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.